Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're exploring a theme that has resonated through every age, from our modern world to the ancient texts. Our topic is obedience and the cost of disobedience. In a time when headlines remind us that defying essential principles can have tragic consequences, we'll journey through current events and the sacred narratives that caution us against turning away from the prescribed path. In our modern era, disobedience isn't just a matter of philosophy. It can have life and death consequences. Consider how, in many industrial settings, when safety guidelines are ignored, the results can be catastrophic. For instance, there have been tragic building collapses and industrial accidents where neglecting established protocols costs lives. Likewise, in times of civil unrest, when individuals defy lawful orders during heated protests, the price can be paid in blood. While the motivations behind these actions are complex, one truth remains constant. There is a heavy cost when society turns away from necessary discipline and order. Or, what about a defiant child who refuses to be obedient and heed the sound wisdom of their parents, or any figure of authority, rule, and order? The unfortunate consequences oftentimes result in a life of trouble, hardships, struggles, strife, criminal behavior, mental illness, legal problems, incarceration, and even premature death. These events remind us that disobedience often isn't a harmless act of defiance. It can disrupt the very foundation upon which safety and well-being are built, whether in our personal relationships, on a construction site, in a public space, or even in the governing structures that protect us.
These modern lessons echo the ancient wisdom found in our canonical texts. In Genesis, we find early examples of obedience and disobedience. Take the account of Abel and Cain. Abel's offering was received with divine favor because it was given in sincere obedience, Genesis 4:4, while Cain's offering, tainted by a hardened heart, proved unacceptable, Genesis chapter 4, verse 5, leading to a tragic first murder and a life marked by alienation. The stark difference between these responses serves as an early warning. Obedience brings favor, while disobedience carries a cost. The narratives continue in Exodus. As Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, God's instructions were clear and uncompromising. When the people strayed, worshiping the golden calf, for example, Exodus 32, the cost was severe. Their disobedience resulted in devastating judgments and a long, painful wander in the wilderness. Later, in Deuteronomy, the covenantal promises are presented in a striking form: blessings for those who obey, and curses for those who dare disobey, see Deuteronomy 28. These texts combine to illustrate that obedience isn't just ritual, it's the bedrock of life, protection, and divine favor. Beyond the widely accepted scriptures, ancient texts like the Book of Enoch add another layer to this timeless lesson. In Enoch's account, we read about the Watchers, celestial beings who defied divine order by descending to earth and mingling with humanity. Their disobedience, emblematic of pride and rebellion, set off a chain of corruption that ultimately marred creation. This narrative, though not part of the canonical Bible, powerfully illustrates that even in the heavenly realms, straying from God's decrees comes with a dire price. It's a reminder that whether we are mortal men or fallen angels, the cost of disobedience is steep and often irreversible. Nowhere is the contrast between obedience and rebellion more pronounced than in the divine evaluations of characters throughout Scripture. The Most High's pleasure in the Messiah, a perfect model of obedience, is profoundly contrasted with his displeasure for Lucifer, the archetypal rebel. As tradition and texts like the Book of Enoch suggest, Lucifer's pride and refusal to submit led not only to his downfall, but also to an enduring legacy of chaos and suffering. Similarly, in Genesis, we see God's tender favor granted to Abel, whose pure heart won divine approval, and stark rejection for Cain, whose disobedience led to eternal estrangement. This pattern continues with the twin brothers Jacob and Esau. Scripture tells us, "Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated," as echoed in Romans 9 and Malachi chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. God's covenant chooses not based on mere birthright, but on the heart's alignment with His will, emphasizing that obedience, trust, and devotion invite divine love. In contrast, those who choose defiance attract disfavor and repercussions, a lesson repeated time and again both in our sacred texts and in the corridors of history.
So what does it mean for us today, whether we speak of obeying safety protocols in modern industries, young people obeying their parents and authority, following laws designed to protect our communities, or nurturing our inner moral compass? The lesson is clear. Obedience is the pathway to protection, blessing, and purpose, while disobedience brings about chaos and tragedy. The biblical narrative, from Genesis through Exodus and Deuteronomy, and echoed in the ancient book of Enoch, reminds us that every act of defiance carries consequences. Similarly, today's tragedies serve as a sobering testament that straying from known principles, be they divine or practical, can lead to loss and regret. And in the figure of the Messiah, we find an embodiment of perfect obedience, whose life offers us a model to follow. His commitment to the will of the Most High stands in sharp contrast to the downfall of Lucifer and the failures of individuals like Cain and Esau. These eternal narratives challenge each of us, in our personal lives, in our communities, and in the world at large. Embracing obedience may be the most radical and transformative choice we can make. In closing, obedience isn't about blind submission. It's about aligning ourselves with principles that protect life, nurture community, and foster divine harmony. Whether drawn from modern events or ancient scripture, the message resounds with clarity. The cost of disobedience is too high to bear, while true blessing flows from a heart that listens and obeys. Thank you for joining us on this reflective journey. We hope these insights encourage you to consider the deep implications of your choices. Please like, subscribe, and share your own thoughts in the comments on how obedience shapes your life, and what lessons you believe we can draw from both our modern experiences and the timeless wisdom of Scripture. Until next time, may you walk in the light of wisdom and grace, ever mindful of the price of every choice, and always remember to love and choose peace.